Welcome back to the Proximity is Power podcast. We got big dog in the house, Chase Williams. He's the GOAT. If you've heard of Aptive, he's the man over there. So
was.
So a little bio on Chase if you don't know him or haven't met him. He was a former president of sales at Aptive. He started his door-to-door career actually with Moxie, and then they broke off, started Eco first, and then sold that, then Altera, and then sold that, and then Aptive's been the one that they've been in since 2016. So, some stats on Chase. This is crazy. So, Chase helped them go from $0 in revenue when they first started Eco First to this last summer, Aptive did $187 million in revenue just this last summer. When Chase started with Eco First, he had 26 reps, and this was back in 2010. 26 reps did $2.2 million. To his last year as a regional, in 2021, he had 1,622 reps and did $90 million in revenue. Insane. Over the course of his career, they did Chase's region and stuff did over $600 million in career revenue, which is absolutely insane.
Pretty amazing.
Over $500 million.
Yeah, it's crazy to think when you say the billion.
Yeah, the right? Billion. That's insane.
Yeah.
Super, super crazy. And honestly, I started my door-to-door career at Aptive, and Chase was a big role model to me and leader, and he taught me a lot, and I always try to convince him to go to lunch with me and pick his brain and get the nuggets from Chase. But really excited to have Chase on. And not only is Chase like a really awesome leader, recruiter, salesman, but he's just a good guy. Like,
well, thank you.
You have a good family. You work with your brothers. People respect you. I honestly haven't heard like I haven't heard anything bad from anyone about.
Just haven't talked to the right people. No,
about Chase Williams. So that's actually super, super impressive. And just seeing, like we've been to Ecuador a couple times together.
That was always fun.
Played some bang. Yeah, got crazy.
Yes.
But yeah, we go back. So awesome, Chase. I'm excited to chat today.
I'm excited to be here.
So let's start with this. So this is recent news, but former president of sales at Aptive.
Yep.
So what's next for Chase?
I'm going to take a little time off.
Yeah.
Pretend to be retired.
Yeah.
And when I say pretend, like I've only been off a week and a half and I'm already getting antsy. And so that's awesome. Why I'm like, I got to do something else.
Yeah.
So I have a couple things that I'm looking at doing.
Cool.
Really like the service industry.
Yeah.
And want to create my own.
Awesome.
And so I'll probably start off actually in termites.
Really?
And then from termites move into like a mitigation, restoration type, sort of attaching that to it. And so more of I'd love to grow it into a whole home service type company that does everything.
So you're going to just get right back into the grind.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's where
love that.
Where you grow the most.
It's so fun. Yeah.
It's where you grow the most. It's where you find purpose, excitement. Like again, in this week and a half, I'm getting antsy. Like I literally got off.
It's been a week and a half too. Like it's not like 5 months or 2 years, like a week and a half.
Well, it's funny. My buddy who I'm looking at doing the mitigation company with calls me up today. And he's like, Chase, how you feeling?
Yeah.
Why? Because I am hitting him up already. Like, hey, we got to get this done. Let's do this. Let's get this done.
Wow.
And he's like, calls me up. He's like, dude, Chase, hey, you just need to take some time off. Enjoy. You just had a big exit. Like, enjoy that. Take it. And I'm like, I know I got to, but I can't. Yeah. I'm ready to go.
You're ready to run through a wall already.
I'm ready to create something new.
That's
and
awesome.
Build something new. It's exciting.
That's cool. We'll have to talk more off camera about that. That's cool. You're gonna crush it, obviously.
Thank you.
You know what the freak you're doing. But I know I felt that way. I just got back from Europe for 3 weeks, and literally, I've never traveled more than like 10 days.
Yeah.
But I was like, holy crap, if I don't sell something, recruit somebody, or build something, like I'm going to lose my mind. Like,
it's crazy how that is.
Yeah.
Every time I've gone on vacation, I'm like antsy for the vacation to end because I need to get back into my groove, what I'm doing. And
it's crazy. I know. I realized on that trip, like I'll never retire. Like I think I'll work till I die.
Yeah.
Like Todd Peterson's quote is like, he wants to die tired. Like nothing left in the tank, you know?
No, 100%. I love that. I think the work for me will change over time.
Yeah.
That's my hope.
Yeah.
Right. That eventually I'm not working for money anymore.
Yeah.
I'm working and serving and helping others, and that's my main focus. And I don't care about money.
That's cool.
But to get there, we all have to make the money so that we can have that.
Do that,
right?
yeah.
So we can do that.
Have the freedom.
I would love, if I can, start another company, grow it big in 3-4 years, sell it, then I'm done forever.
Yeah.
Then I'm still working, but I'll be working just helping others, serving others, taking care of those.
Awesome. Do you have like a number of like, hey, once I get this,
20 million.
20 million.
I mean, technically my net worth's already over that.
That's sick.
I don't have that much invested. Okay. I want that much money invested working for me.
Gotcha.
Now, if I can get a good 8 to 10% return, I don't need $2 million a year.
Right. Like, that's a lot. That's awesome.
I am even though my house is a little extreme.
Yeah.
Me and my wife live pretty simple.
Okay.
Like we can survive off of 400,000 easy.
Yeah.
And for some of you guys, that might be a lot.
Yeah.
But, it's as you grow and you develop the skill sets and obviously the financial stability, that money, 400,000 in 10 years from now is going to be the norm.
Right. Oh yeah. It's crazy
how inflation is going.
I don't even know how people survive right now if they're not making 100K. Like I'm like,
it's true.
It's like poverty. Like, cool. Well, awesome, Chase. So for people that don't know you or haven't met you before, maybe tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah. So I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. Loved it out there. Always thought I'd go back.
Really?
Yeah. I always planned on coming out to BYU for school. But coming out here and living here, I was just like, I'm never going back to Atlanta.
Fell in love. Yeah.
Immediately.
Cool.
So I went and left Atlanta, went and served a mission in Lima, Peru, in the East Mission at the time.
Oh, cool.
And then came home, went to BYU for a semester, ran out of money, went back to Georgia, went to Kennesaw State University out there because I could live for free at home. And I had what they call the Hope Scholarship, where you get free schooling.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't have money. I got to do that.
Yeah.
And so from there, lasted a semester and realized, man, this is not the college experience I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I need to get back out to Provo.
Yeah.
But because I'd left BYU, they made me reapply. And I didn't get in. So BYU Idaho, I went up to BYU Idaho for the winter semester.
Okay.
And then I got accepted to BYU, but I fell in love with BYU Idaho.
Really?
It was just smaller class sizes, more like condensed campus. I felt like I got to know so many people. Where at BYU, I felt like
it was too big.
It was too big.
My parents say the same thing. Yeah.
And so I fell in love with BYU Idaho, and I ended up graduating from up there.
Heck yeah.
So
you played football too, didn't you?
In high school, I did.
High school.
Yeah. High school, I played football. Our team was great.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Cool.
Football in Georgia is crazy.
I bet.
It is crazy.
The South.
It's like our stadium fit like 25,000 people in it.
It's like the youth stadium pretty much. That's crazy. Yeah.
And games, people were standing all around the fence. It was crazy loud. Like we had our own field house. Like football there is just like everything. And so when I actually went and visited a lot of colleges, now they're like 1AA schools or FCS schools.
Yeah.
I went and visited, but all of them, I'm like, their facilities are worse than my high school.
Wow.
Like all these colleges and universities, I'm like,
it's like
this
a
is
downgrade.
Worse. Yeah.
Wow.
And so, I had a walk. I could have walked on to BYU, but as I came home from my mission, I was training to get back into it. I got injured.
Okay.
And
because you played linebacker,
outside linebacker.
Heck yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. So then my summer opened up, and went out and sold, and
heck yeah,
made a lot of money. Enough money that I'm like, wait, I'd just be a tackling dummy at BYU.
Yeah.
Like I'd be on scout team the whole time. Why am I going to go beat up the whole time?
Right.
I can go make money.
Yeah. Okay. So childhood wise, like you played football. Did you have an idea of what you wanted to do growing up?
No idea.
Did you always feel like you were more ambitious, or that money was on the radar?
No, it actually wasn't. For me, it was interesting growing up. So going to this. So growing up, I sort of struggled with learning. Like I would study 10, 12 hours for a test to get the same grade a buddy would do an hour studying, and we'd both get the same grade. And so I found myself having to work way harder than everyone else in the schooling aspect. But I was also determined to get good grades. And so I ended up with like a 3.7 GPA. Sucked at testing though, like ACT, SAT, not good scores. I think I had like a 19 on the ACT. And my math skills were super good. My reading, like I could not get through more than 2 or 3 questions.
Really?
A lot of my comprehension. And that's, I think, what made schooling hard for me is I would read something and not get anything from it. And I'd reread it and try to fix it, and it would take me forever. And that was something that I didn't understand why it was so hard for me until maybe like 5 years ago.
Really?
And we were at a parent-teacher conference for my daughter. And the teacher's like, hey, we think Ellie has dyslexia. And I'm like, wait, what is that?
Yeah.
And my wife's like, what?
Yeah.
What is this? And the teacher explains what dyslexia is.
Right.
That it's less neurons. And so things don't
process. The characters look different. Yeah.
The letters flip. This happens. And it's a lot harder to learn how to read and to do all the comprehension type of stuff. And
there wasn't probably a word for it back then. Or
yeah, I don't know. There might have been. They didn't check.
Yeah.
And so the teacher's like, well, does any of that like dyslexia run in the family? It's hereditary. And my wife's like, no, it doesn't. And I'm like, that was me. That sounds just like what I was going through.
Wow.
And so, yeah.
That probably taught you work ethic though. I
developed a work ethic that I don't think others did.
Right.
So here's the thing that a lot of times we focus that weaknesses hurt us. Like that dyslexia could have been a weakness.
Like a cripple, yeah.
A crippling thing.
Yeah.
But I actually am very, very grateful for it. Because of that, I developed skill sets that others do not have.
Right.
I see the world in a way that others do not see it. I do feel like a big part of my leadership, because I'm more focused on the individual, because that's how I had to function. My interpersonal relations is better than most because I had to like make up for my lack of like connecting the dots on everything and not feeling good enough.
That's cool.
So,
yeah. One of my favorite quotes Tony Robbins says is life happens for you, not to you.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, that totally happened for you.
Yeah.
But probably going in it, you're like, this sucks. Like what the hell? Like why is this guy only studying for an hour and getting better score than me, you know?
What's funny is at the time I was always like, freak, I'm just stupid. I don't want people to know how dumb I am.
Yeah.
Like I got to work harder.
Yeah.
But as I look back on it, I am so grateful because again, I developed the skills that separated me from the rest. And so that work ethic made huge dividends on my mission, made even more dividends going out and selling pest control. Cause
you went ham.
My first summer, I broke the rookie record. It didn't start off that. Right.
I remember this story. Yeah.
My first summer, it was like the worst on the team the first couple of days.
Wow.
Even to the point where Vest thought I'd quit and go home. And he said that to my buddy.
Okay, let's talk about this. So were you at BYU when you BYU Provo when you got recruited to do this?
So it was my first semester up at BYU Idaho.
Okay, Idaho.
And so Vess was down.
So you're like
here
a sophomore.
I was a sophomore.
Sophomore. And then how'd you get in touch with Vess, or what happened?
So Vess was a home teacher of one of my buddies I grew up with in Georgia.
Okay.
Vess recruited him.
Wow.
He then reached out to my roommate, who was another one of my buddies in Georgia.
Because
up at
did
BYU
Vess
Idaho.
grow up in Georgia too?
Vess grew up in California.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But here when he was here in Provo, he was home teacher to my buddy.
Okay.
And so between my buddy reaching out to my other buddy and then me, so I was like third down the line of recruit.
Right.
So that's how I just remember a phone call with Vess, and I was embarrassed because he said his name, and I'm like, I don't know what he just said, and I don't want to sound stupid again. Sort of that insecurity that I had. Yeah, like, I'm not going to say his name
until I hear it again.
Until I hear it again. And so I actually thought his name was Best. Okay. I'm like, that is the weirdest name. BEST, Best.
That's
like,
awesome.
Okay. But finally I learned it, and again,
went out and sold.
And
this, what year was that?
That was summer of 2007.
And where were you that summer?
That was in Corona,
California. Wow. Tell us about that first summer. So you started off really slow. And why do you think?
I think, again, for me, it's like my learning. It's
just memorizing the pitch and stuff.
I just had to get it down. It took me longer.
Because it wasn't a work ethic.
It wasn't a work ethic. I was out there busting my tail.
Right.
First day, like, my skill set wasn't where it needed to be. Part of it, like serving my mission in Peru, I gained a ton of confidence, and in like with Latinos, Peru, where I felt like I wasn't intimidated. Where I went in California, the first day I knocked, we jumped over a fence, ran through someone's backyard, jumped over another fence, and we were in a gated community. And so they're nice homes.
Yeah.
And I'm like super intimidated. Like scared.
Yeah, different vibe.
Yeah. So for me, I was not coming off confident. I was stuttering. I was shaky. It was not good. And I still was trying to connect the dots on what I was actually saying and doing. And again, for me, it's like a slower process to get everything down.
And pre-summer training wasn't that.
I had none.
Probably, no.
I had
you
none.
just showed up.
I just showed up. I actually showed up thinking that I was going to be selling a bucket of pest.
That's what I thought my first summer too, that we were selling bottles. They could spray themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Holy crap. Okay, so you start off slow and then it just clicks one day, pretty much? Slowly.
I actually, after my second day selling, I was contemplating quitting. Like, really? I was convinced I was done.
Wow.
I was sitting on the edge of my bed just saying, you know what? This is it.
Could you imagine what would have happened?
Oh, I know. I actually look back at
so many freaking people.
I've looked back at that, and it's amazing in our lives. We always have these forks in the road.
Right.
And the decisions we make on those forks have a massive impact on where we end up.
Totally.
I was considering quitting and becoming a service pro. And then it was, stick it out. And essentially what it came down to was, as I'm contemplating, thinking, how am I going to tell Vess I'm quitting?
Yeah.
My buddy had to stay longer and put all his routes together because he sold 8. And I sold 8 in the same neighborhood I was selling 0 in. So that again made me even more depressed.
Right.
Like, it's his second day and he crushed it. I suck at this.
Yeah.
We're in the same neighborhood. It's not like my neighborhood was bad.
Right.
And so he stayed back, did the paperwork, and Vess was like, hey, I was the only person who hadn't got any sales the first couple of days. And there's 10 first-year reps and 2 experienced reps. And I was the only one that hadn't got a sell.
Okay, on the team.
And so Vess made a comment to him like, hey, I'm super worried about Chase. I don't think he's going to make it. And so my buddy, knowing, me, I like to think he knew me.
Yeah.
Because we were competitive growing up, played basketball against each other all the time. And he walks into the apartment, sees me sitting on the edge of the bed, doesn't know that I'm contemplating quitting.
Yeah.
But sticks his head in the room and says, hey, Chase, Vess thinks you're going to quit. And then walked out. Just left. And that's when something just flipped in me. I'm like, someone's doubting me. No, I'm not quitting.
Yeah, I'm gonna show this mofo.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Wow. We always, a key to, I think, a lot of success is finding a villain.
Yeah.
Now Vess is an amazing guy, but I turned him into a villain that year.
Good.
Now, not like a horrible one, but it was like my thought process was like, no, I'm not gonna quit.
Yeah.
Vess at the end of the summer will come to me and say, Chase, you are the worst salesman I've ever seen, but you are the hardest worker. And I started having this fantasy in my mind thinking, hey, 10 years down the road when Vess is teaching his kids about work ethic, Chase Williams will pop in his mind. He can't think about work ethic without thinking of me.
Wow.
And so that was like what I switched. Like success wasn't how many sales I got. Success, I focused on my work ethic. Like that is what I've always been good at. I did that in high school and I got good grades. To learn Spanish on my mission, I was waking up at 5:30 doing way more than everyone else because again, I had a learning disability. And so I had to put way more time into that than anyone else. And I'm like, I've done it there. I can do it here. I'll just outwork everybody, not just on the doors, but I'm going to wake up 2 hours early every day and train. I'm going to train like none other. Now, again, I'm embarrassed. I was still embarrassed at the time of like how slow I was at learning stuff. So I didn't want anyone to know that I was waking up early. So I'd literally wake up early, like get all my stuff done. And then when guys were coming out, I would be like eating a bowl of cereal like I just woke up.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
And so
that's such a good point though, because I feel like if more rookies and reps in general just focused on what they could control, which is I'm going to work harder than anyone else on the team. I'm going to train more than anyone else. Yeah. Whatever happens, happens. And I've never seen a rep do that and decide that didn't have a killer summer.
Exactly. It's so true. I think in our day and age, so much we focus on the outcome.
Right.
Like that's what we consider success.
Right.
If that's what you focus on, you're going to fail a lot.
Right.
To me, success is actually the process. If I can do the process perfectly for long enough,
right,
the outcome's going to bring itself to me.
That's so cool.
Right. So it's all about the process. And if I can do that process every single day, that is success. Whether I got 0 sales or whether I got 15 sales, like the process matters.
Such a good mindset.
Every day when I finished working, it didn't matter how many sales I got. I knew I gave everything I had, and that kept my emotions in check, and I was always in a good spot.
That's cool.
And so, because that's the other battle with sales in general is staying in a good mental frame.
Totally. So you just knowing that you committing to that, like no matter what, it's fine.
Yep.
That's cool. So, and then I'm sure with that type of mindset, you just started popping off fast and selling more than your buddy.
Well, what's funny is first Saturday came around, and I think I had one sale.
Okay.
Up to this Saturday.
Yeah.
Like one sale at 9:30 at night.
Okay.
So it wasn't even.
Yeah. Like
it was like, and let's be honest, this sale I'd gone back. It was like one of those go backs where it's like the 6th time I'm going back because the actual homeowner isn't home.
Okay.
And it was this Hispanic lady who only spoke Spanish, which
you're good at.
I was good at. She loved me,
right?
But she's like, my son is the one that it's his home. Like he's gonna have to say yes, but we need it. We have spiders, and so I go back finally get him when he's home, and as soon as he opens the door, he's like, we don't need pest control. I'm sorry, my mom told you we do not need it. And I'm like, well, trying to figure out how to get it, and then in the background, the mom starts cussing him out in Spanish, saying, no, you have a newborn baby. There's black widows. You were getting this. Wow. And so he's like, I guess I'm getting it. And so it wasn't me. It was her that sold him or forced him to do it.
Right.
And so to me at that point, I didn't really feel like even that sell, I got something, but it wasn't like.
It didn't give you the satisfaction.
I didn't feel like I had it.
Huh.
And so that first Saturday came, and my second door I knocked. Sold someone.
Wow.
And I'm like, I got someone. This was real. The next, literally from that door, I walk across the street because there's a guy out blowing his driveway. He was facing away from me as I was walking up, and you're always a little afraid that you're going to scare them.
Right.
So I'm sitting here like trying to
like stomp or something.
Yeah, like talk loud, say, hey, but the blower's going. I'm like, he can't hear me. I don't want to get too close.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I'm like, this is awkward. I'm like calling after him. And his daughters were up on the porch and they were waving their arms, like trying to get his attention and point behind.
Right.
And I didn't realize it, but so he sees them, turns around, sees me. And then I start talking to him and he's like, he's deaf.
Oh, that's
right.
That's
and
awesome.
So I was like, well, you know what I'm really good at? I've been writing my pitch every day for the last week because that's the only way I could like connect the dots and memorize it in a way is writing it out nonstop. I was like, I'm really good at writing this pitch. This is going to be way better. And so I gained a little confidence there, pulled out a piece of paper, started writing it. My pitch to him, found out he was with a company, ended up switching him over.
No way.
And as I walked off that door, I'm like, I just sold a deaf person. How many people have done that?
Right.
Right. And so my confidence, again, I'm sure there's a lot of people who've done that.
Yeah.
But at that time I was like, I might be the only one.
Wow.
Right. And that shot my confidence up. And so I finished that first Saturday. It was only a half day and I got 5 sales.
That's awesome. That's a great,
I remember going to the beach in Huntington Beach and seeing the numbers of Vest. Vest got 5. And I was like, I sold as many as Vest. Heck yeah. And then there's another guy on the team who's experienced who Thursday before this Saturday, he sold 16 in a day.
Wow.
And so I thought he was like the god of pest control.
Right.
Well, he sold 5. And I was like, I sold as many as the 2 best guys on the team. I can do this.
That's awesome.
And so I just grasped onto that and just like continued doing those processes of training 2 hours in the morning, being the hardest worker on the doors. And
paid
off 452 accounts.
Your rookie year.
Which
is like unheard of back then.
Yeah, that was the rookie record back then.
Wow.
So now it since has been destroyed.
Yeah.
Which
Chandler.
Yeah, so Chandler beat
Brad.
my record and then Brad and then it's awesome. It's amazing to see like
records are meant to be broken.
They have to be broken. Yeah. You want them to be broken.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah. So. Couple thoughts on that. Yeah. Like one, no go back is solid. You think it's a lay down, they'll let you down. They won't answer or it's just a quick hardcore husband or wife that's like totally against the sweet person that wanted it.
Yep.
And I had a funny experience this summer. This lady was vacuuming out her car and she had like short shorts on. She was like way back there, like on all fours. And I'm like, I'm trying to get her attention. I'm like, slapping. But anyway, cool. So you go out, you sell in California and you start off super slow and end up doing 450 accounts. Wow.
Yeah.
And I bet you're pumped.
Oh, I remember that drive back up to Rexburg, Idaho. I was like, one of the best feelings I've ever had.
Yeah.
Like I worked my tail off. I can succeed at anything.
Yeah.
Like with the work ethic and with the things, like I can succeed at whatever I'm doing.
Yeah. That's awesome. I remember that like after my first summer, like I hit my goal and I'm like, I'm rich. Like I made it. I can do anything. And it's, I'll never forget it. So, okay. So going after you got back, you start school again at Rick's, right?
It was BYU, Idaho.
BYU, Idaho, right?
Rick's is way older than me. Don't make me feel that way.
Okay, BYU, Idaho. My parents went to Rick's, but okay. Are you thinking like after that summer, like, hey, I'm gonna go do this forever? What was kind of your thoughts?
No, my goal was med school.
Okay,
I was still set on I was going to med school, and so it was more of like a means to an end that I could pay for like half my med school.
So the idea was like keep doing this through college.
Yeah, I was going to keep doing it through college and then go to med school.
Cool.
So I did it, ran a team in 2008.
The next summer,
2009, ran another team, 10, ran a team. And then actually in 2011, I took that summer off because I was going to study for the MCAT, and I got my pilot's license that summer too.
Wow!
And
I didn't know you had that.
Vess and Dave convinced me they'd pay me like $60,000 to fly around and train all their teams because they're like, when you go train teams, they change. They perform so much better after you're there. And so like, we'll pay you $60,000 and fly you around. I think there's like 5 teams they flew me around to. And so that's what I did 2011. I thought I was done.
Okay.
Then end of 2011, summer happens, and Vess comes to me and he's like, hey, Chase, we're selling EcoFirst. We're going to start a company called Altera. Like, I think you could grow into a regional position pretty quick within 2 years, and they're making over $500,000 a year. And I'm like, wait, what? It's like, you know what? Med school can wait for 2 years. If I can go out there and really make $500,000,
right,
and my second summer putting it all in, like, why go to med school? Again, med school was a little daunting for me as well in the thought process because I knew how hard I was going to have to work.
Right, to learn it.
But I'd also had gained enough confidence that I knew I could do anything. It just going to take time.
Yeah.
Right? And so for me, it was, I was like, well, I'll give this a shot. I'll treat this like it's my full-time job. So,
because that was the first year that you were done with college.
Yeah.
That you actually
2012.
2 feet in. Okay.
Yeah, I had 2 feet in. That whole off season recruited in 2012, and that's where you see my numbers jump crazy from 2012 to 2021. It's at that point. So it wasn't until year really 6 that I decided, hey, this is what I'm doing.
Doesn't it make a difference when you're like all in?
Makes a massive difference.
Massive difference.
2 things I think make a massive difference. The fact that I'm like, hey, you know what? This is my full-time job. I'm working, a 9 to 5 at minimum, 8 hours a day. That's what I'm working.
Right.
So that was big. But then the other thing that was big for me is I got married 2012 as well. And so that
makes you grow up.
It does. And I think all guys, 99% of your brain power when you're not married is going to women.
It's true.
Okay. And that can hold you back in so many areas. And so as soon as I found my wife, got married, it was like, like, wow, I have so much more brain power right now to focus on what I need to focus on to succeed. And so I think that's why you always hear people giving so much credit to their wives. It's true.
Yeah.
Like that they help you focus in on something where I don't think we can focus super well unless we have that person where we feel like, okay, I don't need to think of anyone else.
Yeah.
It's her. Yeah. And then this is what I'm doing.
Like I don't need to play the field anymore.
Exactly.
Worry about who I'm dating, where we're going.
Yeah.
No, I agree 100%. And that's when you really saw big results then.
Big results.
That's crazy because, like my first 5 years when you knew me at Aptive, mostly I was single. And every summer I was like, oh, am I going to do this again? Am I not? Am I going to do this again? Am I not? But literally, 3 years ago, I got married. And that's when I finally committed, like, hey, this isn't just like, I'm doing this, like full throttle. And it's crazy because, like, the last 2 years, like I made more money in the last 2 years than my first 5 combined. Like, not even close.
Makes a massive difference.
It's crazy. Yeah, so that's awesome. So first couple years, you were making good money, and then you decide to not do the doctor route and go full-time summer sales pro.
Yep.
So you graduated at BYU Idaho. And then did you move to Provo? And
I came down to Provo the fall of 2011.
Okay.
And started. I was driving up to Rexburg every other week because I had a couple team leaders up there.
Cool.
Then I was trying to branch into Provo and grow Provo myself as well.
Heck yeah, because so and then Vess and Dave were here in Provo too.
They were here in Provo, yeah.
Wow. So how was it like transitioning from Sound with Moxie to EcoFirst to Altera? Were those like basically you were doing the same thing?
Yeah, I didn't, from Moxie to EcoFirst, it didn't really change anything just because it was at Moxie, I was with Dave and Vess. Dave essentially sold his franchise and started his own. And so it didn't really change except for the name.
Gotcha.
Right. And then same with the name change from Eco first to Altera, it didn't feel like anything
had really changed.
Now Altera to Aptive, a lot changed. Right. And they gave, a long-term incentive plan. They gave all these things that motivated and got everyone pumped and excited more. And so, yeah.
That's cool. Now that we're talking about, sales mostly, I want to ask you, what is your best, we kind of touched on this, but what's your best advice for rookies?
I think the biggest thing is focus on the process. The process is the only thing that should determine if you have a successful summer. Not how much money you make, not how many sales you get in a day. It's if you can create a process and you can follow through with that perfectly every single day, you're guaranteed to have the outcome that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
And if you're not having the outcome that you're looking for, change up the process, recommit to more things.
Yeah.
Do what you aren't doing to help you get to that end goal. And then don't focus on the outcome. Does not matter. It's all the process. Process is what determines your success and what you should build your, foundation on.
Confidence on,
because you can guarantee to follow through with the process. You're the one that controls that. You can control that. Other things you can't control. You can't control if someone says yes or no.
Yeah. It's such, I was just going to say, it's such a good point because I remember my first summer, I was really struggling. And then I talked to my cousin. I'm like, JT, shout out JT. He's like, dude, you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like, you need to go all in or just go home. And I'm like, all right, like, I'm going to work the hours no matter what. I'm not going to sit on the curb ever. So when I get dropped off, I'm knocking the hours and I'm going to train for, it wasn't 2 hours, but 30 minutes a day, no matter what. And we'll see what happens. And I committed to it and I never broke it.
Yeah.
And that's when I saw success.
That's when you saw the success.
But
that's amazing.
Most people never like make those rules or commit to the process, or they do for a day and then don't get the result and then they're done. But no, like, you got to commit to it. Well, yeah.
It's interesting. There's the average level of commitment. Then you have like a champion's level of commitment.
Right.
They're two different things.
Yeah.
The majority of the world has this average level of commitment where, hey, they treat it like a hobby.
Right.
Like, they want to do it because they like what it could come from it. But as soon as there's pain, I'm done. Right. As soon as there's a price that they have to pay, they're done.
Yeah.
Oh, this is too hard. This is too painful. I'm done.
Yeah.
Where then you have the champion, like, they approach it like it's war. It's do or die.
Right.
I will do this or I will die trying.
And they always sell better.
Always succeed.
And
always
it's
succeed.
And one thing that you mentioned too that rookies also struggle with is if they're not getting those immediate results and are out there with their peers and they start comparing, that could ruin someone's summer. I saw a kid this summer who had trained like crazy, was so good, his pitch was so good, but he bageled his first day, bageled his second day, and I never had like a rookie bagel 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
And I saw his work ethic drop and negative spiral, quit. And I thought he was going to be like
a stud. Yeah.
But just couldn't commit to working hard for 3 weeks and doing it.
The sad thing about that is if he would have committed and worked his tail off, he would have broke through a barrier that would have changed his life.
Totally.
Right. Yeah. Again, going back to me, like, I look at the different paths I'm on, and because I went the harder path, I've had way more success, developed, reached more of my full potential. It's in those moments where we are challenged and uncomfortable. That's when we can actually glimpse our full potential.
Yeah.
If we're not challenging ourselves or putting ourselves in uncomfortable situations, we're never going to be able to glimpse that full potential. And so we're only ever going to be here.
Right.
Where we could have been up here.
Right.
And
so many reps that do struggle and decide to quit, or just make excuses like, oh, that wasn't for me. I tried that, didn't work out. Yeah. And it's like,
I was in that. I was constantly, how do I tell Vess I'm quitting? Should I tell him I have a job back at home? I haven't seen my parents in 2 years. I want to be with them this summer.
So many good reasons. But it's like, okay, if you're going to do that, like, when are you going to, like, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And if you're not going to start now when are you going to start? Like, when are you actually going to commit and do what you're going to say you're going to do? You know, like make it happen your first summer.
Yeah.
You know?
And, you know, one of my favorite stories was actually my second year. So I was running a team, in Orange County. Vest was running a team in Corona.
Okay. And
we would come for like meetings like once a month with like the whole team and have Dave there.
Cool.
And, Vest had reached out to me. He's like, dude, I have a kid on my team who's working his tail off. He hasn't sold anything in 3 weeks, but he is determined. I told him that you struggled, but then you broke the rookie record. Could you talk to him?
This was one of Vest's guys.
This is one of Vest's guys.
Yeah.
And so I remember going to that and talking to him and him going through everything. And I'm sitting here like, he hasn't sold something in 3 weeks and he's still out here.
Was it Chandler Smith?
No. Yeah. And so he ended up getting one sell, I guess, that first month.
Okay.
And I gave him all the things that I did, the commitments that I made, the training, all the things that I had committed to and that I was doing, did religiously, that worked. And then just said, you have to follow through it every day.
Yeah.
So the next month comes back and he's like, Chase, it's working. I got 10 sales this month. And I'm sitting here like,
that's so bad.
like, it's working. Yeah. You 10 times what you did, but it sort of sucks.
Yeah.
But then July and August, he did 283.
No.
In the last 2 months.
Wow. Popped off.
And he was this, I mean, nerdy, like very good communicator. Like it was hard for me the first time I met with him to communicate with him, but he changed into something that he did amazing.
Wow.
I wish we actually used to have an interview of him back in our Altera trainings.
Really?
And
you should have kept it on there.
Oh, it was, to me, it was gold because it was just like,
it was real.
As you're looking at him, you're like, how the freak did he do that?
Yeah.
You know, and it's all because of his commitment, his work ethic and following through with that commitment and then just never giving up.
Yeah.
And because he never gave up, like I am confident now that he's successful, whatever he's doing now.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
That's cool. How was the leadership and training, like going from like being a really good rep to that? I expected a lot of myself as a leader, partly because I thought so much of Vest as a team leader. Like I did not think I could live up and do what Vest did. Like he was great.
He was amazing.
Really?
And again,
what was so amazing about Vest?
He was so good at training. The morning trainings, you could tell were super prepared. Dialed in. Like I felt like I was going every day excited because I was going to learn something. Where I also, at the time, I just wasn't good at being in front of people. Like that was a little too much for me. I think I'm an introvert at heart. And so public speaking and being in front of people like scared the crap out of me.
Really?
So the idea that I had to be up and train guys every day, I just doubted my ability. Right. And so I think I made my first summer leading a team look harder than it actually was. Because I ended up having 6 guys qualify to become leaders.
Which is phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, I worked my tail off. They were awesome. Trained them. They did super well.
Yeah.
None of those wanted to be a leader.
Really?
Why? Because they saw what I was doing and they're like, there's no way in heck I'm doing that.
Wow.
I made it look way too hard. And it was hard for sure, but it's because I was learning everything in the process and I was trying to do everything and, you know, and just be the best leader because I felt like I had a lot to live up to following Vest, right?
That's interesting.
And so I made it look too hard. And so the next year,
they're like, I'm not signing up for that. What Chase just did.
I saw what Chase did. I'm not going through that.
Wow.
So the next year, almost all of them, actually, all of them came. All of them, but my cousin and her husband. They went down and tried to run a team with another one of the guys, Adam Stout, down in Phoenix. The rest of them, the other 3 of them, came up on my team and were just co-team leaders on my team.
Was that junior stouts?
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
Okay.
No, but that was James Graves.
Okay.
So James Graves was someone who I recruited my first summer who crushed it, did 301
in
3 months.
Baller.
Because he didn't knock after August 1st, he decided to surf the whole time. He regrets that.
Yeah.
But he could have broke my record, honestly.
Yeah.
The year after I got it, he could have broke it.
Yeah.
But he hit his numbers and was content. And one of probably his biggest regrets, I think he's told me that.
Really?
That he didn't work as hard.
Yeah. Shout out James Graves. He's a beast.
He is a beast.
Learned a lot. I love watching his role play video.
Probably one of the most natural salesmen I've ever seen.
Yeah, and you'd be scared to say no to him. Yeah. He's so big, he'd just F you up.
So no, he's awesome.
That's cool. So first year leading, you crushed it, but you made it look too hard, and then you just got better at making it look easier.
Yeah, the next year I recognized, okay, I can delegate this stuff. I can make these guys, and now I had some co-team leaders make them feel like they're part of it, sort of like prep them to run a team and show them that it's not as hard. And as they did, things here and there, it made it easier on me too, because all I focused on was training.
Yeah.
And producing numbers. And I had everything else, from the routing where we're going to knock, someone else handled that.
Right.
From the weekend activities, someone else handled that. The midday activities, someone else handled that. And so I pretty much delegated everything out to give them like, hey, this isn't that hard to do, a little taste.
Right.
And I just focused on training and developing.
Nice.
And we had that was up in Seattle, and we had a massive year up there.
That's cool.
Did really well, and produced even more team leaders.
Cool.
And so, yeah.
What's your best advice for someone that wants to get into leadership or is in leadership?
So I think naturally we all tried to lead the way we like to be led. The reality is there's 4 main different types of personalities. Now there's tons of personalities, but 4 main groups. If you're leading the way you like to be led, you're only leading to 25%. And so that's the challenge as a leader is you're going to have your first thoughts on how you need to be a leader, which is going to work for people like you, right? But you need to get to know your team members and build those relationships. And that's where I feel like one of my, so-called superpowers came is because of my dyslexia, I developed the ability of that interpersonal communication, recognizing how people tick and function, because I almost had to survive.
So what are the 4 personalities, would you say?
So you have like the more assertive, like gun ho. I call them a rhino. Yeah. Right. They see where they're going, and they'll run over anybody and everybody in their way to get there. Not on purpose.
Yeah.
They just direct line.
Yeah. I know some of those. Okay.
So yeah. Direct line, going right for it. Then you have what I call a penguin, or if you know the color code, it's like a yellow personality, where they're like the motivation is fun, communication, relationships, stuff like that. Well, they want to be the center of attention and sort of the party.
Cool.
And then you have the tortoise or the blue, where they're more they're way more centered in relationship based. They're like opposite from the assertive rhino. They're opposite from them. Okay. And so a lot of times those two will clash a lot. And then you have the owl, which is more of like the very detail oriented, like analytical, analyzing everything. And so those would be like the 4 main different personalities. Cool. And luckily I grew up with, my brother Travis, and knew he was a tortoise or a blue, and I could, I had dealt enough with that. I'm like, okay, I figured out as a kid how to work with Travis really well. And so people who are like, Travis, this is how I'm going to do it. And then for me, I was more of the penguin rhino area. And so I knew how to work with myself, and also with rhinos, knowing I always had to give them options. I never told them what to do, but I said, hey, it's either this or this. Which one do you want to do? Yeah. Right. Like that's how I led. That's
really interesting. Where'd you learn that?
Growing up, my parents were always, I think I had like a cheat code with my dad. He was a sales consultant. He owned his own company and did it for a lot of big companies, Fortune 400 companies. Yeah. And so I remember going to his seminars, like the trainings he was giving, and it was always about, selling, but selling to people how they want to be sold, and then also leading. If you're leading people the way they want to be led rather than the way you would like to be led.
Right.
And so I sort of had that cheat code.
That's really cool.
Just from my dad teaching me and doing all that. So my dad, now he's a life coach, but again, I'm like, I had a life coach through high school.
Yeah, my whole life.
And so that's why I'm like, I sort of had a cheat code in the leadership aspect of things because he taught me those things and sort of, I took those and used them and saw a ton of success come from it.
Heck yeah. So your advice for new leaders is lead people they'd want to be led and understand what type of personalities you're dealing with and custom your approach to them.
Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
Like when you lead them the way they want to be led, you have to get to know them. Mm-hmm. You have to get to know them on a deep level. And so I always did like monthly one-on-ones.
Like during the summer?
During the summer.
Yeah.
And that was more me showing that I care, that I want to help. But like before the summer ever started, I helped develop what their goal is, what things they can commit to do those things. And then in those meetings, I'd be like, okay, where are we at?
Yeah.
Oh, you haven't done this. You haven't done this. You're not doing this anymore like you committed to.
Yeah.
What am I doing wrong as your leader that you're not doing those things? It's not your fault. It's my fault. I'm your leader. And if you're not doing those, it's my fault. And I'd always take the blame on myself and it would catch people off guard.
That's smart.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'd get two reactions from people. I would get, oh no, Chase, it's not your fault. Like I need to be better. Help me do this. Hold me accountable here. And then you get the assertive type of people who respond, yeah, you're not doing good here. I need you to do this, this, and this. I'm like, oh, they just told me exactly how I need to lead them. Perfect. I will take that. You've told me how I need to lead you. I will do that.
Hot button. Yeah.
Yeah. And so either way, it was good because I learned how I could be a better leader.
Right.
And that was really my intent, was to become a better leader.
Right.
And so
just help them out.
Help them out. And so they always thought like, dude, Chase really cares, which I did. Yeah. Right. And I want to help them succeed.
Right.
And so, made a massive difference.
That's awesome. I feel like I remember when we went to lunch and I asked you the same question and you said the same thing pretty much, but you said you have to love your people.
You do.
Because if you don't, you're not going to put their best interests first. You're not going to take care of them like they should be taken care of. And they're not going to perform at the level they're able to.
Yeah, it's 100%. It's crazy how powerful love, when they feel that you really care about them, you love them, that you want what's best for them. Yeah. Like they actually perform better because they don't want to let you down.
Right. It's cool. I honestly, I feel like it's such common sense. Like Jesus loved his disciples. But like for me, like my first summer, like leading, I went into it like, I do like my friends that I'm bringing out, but like I can't control what they sell. So whatever they sell is great, but I'm going to go do me, Yeah. And I didn't spend the time taking care of reps, nurturing the relationships, and like even showing them that I cared. I cared, but I didn't care more than my sales, which is really sad. That was my mindset, but it was. And then at the end of that summer, I had just my little brother wanting to come back again. I'm like, well, frick, for me to go make what I make this year, I have to go sell 750 again. Yeah. Like, that's not fun. I'm like, and then my buddy, Caleb Karbowitz, shout out. He made more money that year, and he sold half as many accounts, but he had 5 guys hit team lead. Yeah. And so then I'm like, Caleb, I call him up. I'm like, hey, like, let's go lead a team together next year. I want to see how the freak you get rookies to sell so well. And he's like, I want to see how you sell 750. Like, I'm like, bet. And then we went 2020, led a team in Orlando. We did 7,500 accounts. That's
amazing.
Crushed it.
Crushed it.
And I finally saw the difference. And it was just more time and more team activities, like just a few small things that I wasn't doing and I actually did love my people, and guys crushed it. And it was like, wow, that was the missing link. Yeah. Because I feel like in leadership, I heard this from, I don't remember where, but like as a leader, you need to hold people to a high standard. And you can't hold people to a high standard if you don't hold yourself to a high standard. Like you have to hold yourself to a high standard and then hold your people to a high standard. And then on the other side, you have to connect at a high level.
Yep.
And for me, I was like the dictator leader where I held everyone to a high standard and myself, but I was a dick. Well, I just didn't like show that I cared.
Yeah.
And so people were like, screw you, bro. I don't care what you tell me to do. I'm not doing it. But when I had both, that's when I saw guys perform really
You can
well.
hold people to a high standard if you love them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because they know you're doing it out of love. And they know you're trying to do everything you can for their best interest.
Yeah.
So when they feel like that, like they will perform.
It's true.
Because they don't want to let you down. And again, it goes back to, for me, I just saw it where I took ownership. If they're not doing something, it's my fault. Mm-hmm. If I was a good leader, you would be doing this. So what am I doing wrong as a leader?
That's so gold, Chase.
So that I can help you achieve that.
Guys, go rewatch this entire thing, because now I know why Chase did $600 million in career revenue with 1,600 reps. Insane. More than that came through. Yeah. Wow. Gold. That's really good. Thanks, Chase.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone, got a ton of value from that. Incredible. Shifting gears a little bit. You're a really good investor from what I know about you, and some of the deals you've done with some commercial deals and stuff. But have you always, I guess, invested ever since your first summer? The first summer you blow it on a car, or what was your kind of investment history?
My perspective of money was like, give you an example. After my second summer, I reward myself with if I hit my goal, I always rewarded myself with something.
Smart.
So after my second summer, I remember James Graves making fun of me because I rewarded myself with a little TomTom GPS, like $300. Nice. It's like, wait, that's all you're getting? Like, you crushed it. You made like $138,000 and you bought a $300 thing. That's all you're getting. I'm like, yep. I'm still living like I'm only making $10,000, right? I'm going to school. I'm living like everyone else.
Wow.
And I would just put my money to work.
Was that your dad or?
I think growing up, when I grew up, I was taught, save your money, make, not really invest my money. But I had my cousin who had just started flipping homes. And so he's like, he needed money and I had money. And so he was giving me like a 12% return on my money. And he was just going, buying a home, flipping it, selling it.
Oh, nice.
And continually giving me a return. And so I'm like, well, my money's working for me. This is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what kicked it off. Is now my cousin's crushed it. He has his own podcast and makes millions.
Wow.
Right? He's crushing it.
Wow.
Just by teaching people how to do all that real estate, flip homes, do all of it. And yeah,
that's what got you hooked on it.
That's what got me hooked on investing.
Yeah.
And recognizing how that brings. And then my uncle, my mom's twin brother, once said to me, he's like, you work hard for your money. And after you pay taxes, that money you have is sweat money. You make it work for you. Like, make that money work for you. And I saw him, he was making like $2 million a year and he was on his yacht all the time and not working because he had all these apartment complexes and all these commercial properties. And he's the one that originally got me into commercial properties. Wow. Was just because he's like, commercial properties where it's at. Apartments, you got a lot of work. But I've sold all my apartments, put them all into commercial buildings, triple net properties. I literally do nothing and I get a check. Wow. They pay the maintenance, they pay the insurance, they do this, the taxes. Like, you do nothing. You just have to keep it filled. Wow. And so, so seeing him do that, I'm like, okay, I'm going to.
I missed that. How'd you know that guy?
That was my mom's twin brother.
Wow.
So.
You got a cool family.
I had a lot of help.
That's awesome though.
So.
I feel like that guy might have taught my dad because my dad, he's been in finance my whole life and I was really lucky to have him like see his work ethic. But he taught me after my first summer, he's like, Gage, there's only two ways you make money. you bust your ass or your money makes money.
Yeah.
Your money making money is way more fun, but you have to bust your ass to be able to get there.
Yep.
And he's like, I just took that lesson in, and I just never wanted to spend money I earned.
Yeah.
Only my passive income. And he's like, never upgrade your lifestyle until your passive income can pay for it.
Exactly.
So Vess, you probably, Tosh, were always getting on me because literally since high school for 5 years, I didn't buy a single item of clothing. Like everything I wore in the office was Aptive branded from all of our team leaders' swag bags. Like I took it to a new level. Like I really live like $700 a month max, you know, like
I love it.
Nothing, but it was like the best thing ever. Cause I invested everything else, and it was, and then real estate doubled, you know? So that was nice.
That is nice.
That's awesome. So you got that taste early on, and you got hooked, and then you had great people around you that kind of showed you the way in different deals.
And different deals and different things. And a lot of it too is just luck, right? I've made mistakes through the process and invested in things that didn't pan out.
Yeah.
But I didn't let that, like, I knew when I was putting that money in, whatever I was putting into, I had a risk, right? But the reward was so much greater than the risk. Yeah. I think a lot of people are afraid to invest, or if they did it once and it didn't bring back good return, they're scared of doing it again. But it's like, scared money don't make money, right? Like you have to be willing to put it out there and make it work for you. And you'll find the things that you feel comfortable in doing. Like for me, I did single family homes at first, recognize, hey, that's a lot of work. And that's not good for me. Like that stressed me out. Like all the maintenance and all the decisions. Even though I had a management company.
That's me right now. Yeah, it's a lot.
Even though I had a management company, I feel like they'd come to me for every decision. I'm like, well, what do they need? What don't they need? I can't see this property every day.
Right, and then you see it go unleased for a month, and you're like, what's the updates, guys?
What's going on?
Come on, let's get it
I
ready.
just felt like there was a lot of work for not as much. And so that's when I switched over to commercial properties.
So you sell all those pretty much?
Yeah. And I focused more on the commercial property aspect. And that's when my uncle said, hey, commercial's way better. I did the apartment thing. Like it's way better.
That's cool.
So now I actually won't go do like my own commercial properties anymore. I invest with a group of people that put into a commercial property. Just because it's
more hands off. And
what group
are you allowed to say return. The group?
I should know his company name, but it's Chris McKay.
Okay. Here in Utah?
He's here in Utah. He's amazing. He gives the commercial, like that's where I'll put all my real estate money.
Cool.
I'll put it all towards Chris.
I'll have to get his number from you at the end of this.
It to you.
If you are interested in that, hit me or Chase up. But that's awesome because I like the more I've invested on my own and doing my own deals, like I've learned so much. But now I'm like, okay, I want to be more passive.
Yep.
You know, like I want it to be more passive. But awesome. Question, do you believe that proximity is power? Like proximity is power to me basically means like the people who you surround yourself matter because you start to think like they think, act like they act, say what they say, read what they read, and who you're around you become like. Do you believe that? And if so, how important has it been to you in your life?
Yeah, I 100% believe that. The people you're surrounding yourself with will have a massive impact on who you become. And I look back at, Tosh McIntosh, Kyle Nilsson,
studs.
A lot of these guys that we all were growing at the same time. They motivated me. They pushed me. I competed against them. They drove me, but they were good dudes that I wanted to become more like.
That's awesome.
I'm like, man, this I love about Tosh, or this is Vess. And I'm like seeing these things. I'm like, man, surrounding yourself with people that make you better is key.
Awesome. And this kind of goes with that too, but who are some of your big mentors along the way and why? You mentioned Vess.
Yeah, Vess has always been someone there for me. Like I am super grateful to Vess and the opportunities given me and the guidance and the confidence he instilled in me because, again, I was sort of didn't have that confidence at the time, where he was more confident in my ability than I was. And so that helped me gain more confidence myself, and just seeing how Vess handled stuff. I was like, man, he does this super well and this super well. And, you know,
but Vess is a unicorn, man.
He is.
He's a freak of nature.
He's really good. You know, recently I've loved seeing, over the last 2 years, Tosh grow
Blossom
into like really a, you know, senior president at Aptive. Like seeing his growth, I'm like, wow, that was amazing. Like it was fun to see that and to see that happen. And like he's just evolved. And so he's always been someone that I'm like, you know, trust with my life type guy.
And he was always hyping you up. Like that's why I always was trying to get to lunch with you, because like Chase. So I know he respected you and really took a lot of stuff from you too. So
yeah, no, I'm very grateful for those relationships.
That's cool.
And then Kyle Nielsen, you know, we competed all the time, and it was fun. Like we were very similar in the sense that we're very relationship based.
He's crazy competitive.
Yeah, he is. He's crazy competitive. And we felt like we were both trying to lead the same way. We're more focused on relationships. So we are the ones like, I felt like there's like a rivalry there between us. And I'm very grateful for that. It pushed me, motivated me, helped me grow. Yeah.
That's awesome. Share with me your biggest failure. How did you overcome that failure?
You know, I am, I've had a lot of failures. First, let's say that. But I also have a very short-term memory.
That's such a good answer.
Like I almost like push those away and get rid of them.
Yeah.
And focus only on the positive. Because it doesn't help me to dwell on anything. And it's almost like this mentality, like I succeed at everything I do, even though I don't. I fail at a lot of things. My wife says, you know, that all the time to me.
Yeah.
You're failing as a husband. Yeah. Pick it up, you know?
Yeah. My wife today. No.
But no, it is a short-term memory.
That's cool.
So I don't remember, even though I know I had a ton of them. I can't really pinpoint one right now.
Okay. That's good. Yeah. Failure amnesia, pretty much.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite habits?
So, I think the key is a habit of trying to always improve and get better. So I love writing out affirmations for what I'm going to do, and then reading that until it almost becomes like
real
ingrained in me. Like, and so when I find something that I'm like, okay, this is who I need to become, I will write out an affirmation telling myself that that's who I am. And then I'll read it in the morning, right when I wake up, and right before I go to bed.
Wow.
And
I didn't know that.
And so it's interesting. There's a book I read called The Power of the Subconscious Mind.
It's a great book.
And in that I recognize, I didn't realize it at the time, but I'd been doing that affirmation thing for my first summer. And that affirmation I read every morning and night before I went to bed, I feel like had a big impact on my success. And
what was the affirmation like?
I actually have it.
You do?
You want me to read it?
I love that. That's
Okay.
awesome.
Yeah, I have it written down, because I shared it all the time with first year reps.
That's awesome.
So this is what my affirmation I read every morning was. I am a confident, competent sales professional. Okay. At the beginning, recognize I did not feel like I was that. Right. That's why first line.
Confident. That's awesome. Because you weren't confident.
No,
yeah.
I wasn't. I wasn't at all. I am the hardest worker. I will outwork all those around me. I will help people solve their pest issues. I will never end at a prescribed time. I will always work longer than what is expected. By doing this, I'll become self-empowered. I will never be a minute late to knocking the doors or finish a minute early. I will not allow complacency to weaken my resolve. I will put 2 hours of training in every morning before I knock the doors. I know that as I focus on improving my skills, this action will improve my confidence. Through the training, I will become a master salesman, being honest and transparent in all my dealings. I'll overcome every obstacle in my path with discipline and hard work. I know every obstacle makes me stronger and a more successful salesman. I will embrace obstacles for they make me better. I will enjoy the grind. I'll find positive in every situation. I'll focus on my habits, making them good habits, for I know I'm a slave to my habits and I choose to be a slave to good habits.
Wow.
So
money.
Yeah. So I read that every morning and night. And from that Power of the Subconscious Mind, I didn't know at the time what I was doing, but I was rewriting my subconscious mind. I was telling it that this is who I am. Now, when we're awake and we're moving around it, our conscious mind is the one in control. Mm-hmm. But the subconscious mind is nudging us to do the things that it believes we are. So it believed I was the hardest worker. It was nudging me to do the things that a hardest worker would do. It believed that I was confident. It nudged me to do things that a confident person would do. So the idea of faking it till you make it, there's some truth in that. But it's really you're rewriting your subconscious mind. That's totally how you become confident. That's how you become these things.
Wow.
So
guys, that was insane. That was awesome. There's so much truth to that. Like if you haven't read The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, I think it's like Joseph Murphy or something, but go read it. But The Power of Your Mind is so crazy. And most people, because it's free, take it for granted. But like what you think about most of the time, you do become. And you can program yourself to become somebody different by thinking different thoughts. Mm-hmm. I have all of my guys do affirmations because yeah, like you get clarity on what you want and the affirmations, right? You know what you want. You start to become obsessed with making it happen because you're putting energy on it every day.
Yep.
And where energy goes, where focus goes, energy flows. Yep. And then the third thing, you start to believe it. And once you start to believe it, like, yeah, I am the greatest salesman in the world. Like I am, the top leader in the company or whatever. Like you start to believe that and you start to embody it, It's pretty crazy. But yeah, that's awesome. And if you guys haven't done affirmations or tried affirmations, like I highly recommend it because it will change your life.
And so that's probably one of the things I love the most. And then another, like habit or thing that I love doing, is actually just prayer. Reflecting, and you don't necessarily have to. When I say I pray, it doesn't mean that I'm having to say something all the time. It can literally be sitting in like this meditation state, like searching. What do I really want? Where do I really want to go? What do I need to do today? And really just seeking a higher divinity guidance.
That's right? Awesome.
That's something that it gives me a lot of peace and strength.
That's awesome. 3, 2, 1 pivot. So what are 3 books that have impacted you the most? And then maybe why? 2 people and then 1 quote.
Favorite book is actually The World's Greatest Salesman.
Yeah. The greatest salesman in the world.
Yeah. Greatest salesman in the world. I love that. But I love that because it also sort of, affirms what we were talking about, the affirmation, right? If you read the book the right way, it's taking you
10 months.
10 months.
Yep.
10 months.
Did you do it? Did you do that?
I failed at month 9.
That's still freaking good.
There's one of my failures.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Never finished the scrolls.
No, but to me, the first 5 scrolls were so impactful to me.
Impactful.
And as I did it the right way, it was big. And then I sort of, I'm mad that I didn't finish properly. I just got antsy.
Yeah.
I got to read the last scroll. I got to know all of them.
Right.
But that was an awesome book. I loved, by Jocko, the
Extreme
Ownership. Love that. But again, I love that because by the time I read that, I'd already was doing those things. So it was almost like reaffirming, like you were doing the leadership this way. And it's like, that's rewarding in a sense. Mm-hmm. But I love that because you read that, you'll learn amazing things.
Yeah.
And then the Happiness Advantage, old one, but that was one of the first books I read. And again, just to focus on positivity and, you control the controllable, and you can control how you feel more than anything else. And so that gives you an advantage over everyone else.
Yeah, that book, all three of those, golden. But yeah, the happiness advantage, like they talk about too, like a lot of people think successful people are happy because they're successful.
Yeah.
But no, they're successful because they were happy first.
Yeah. And again, they enjoy the process.
Right.
It's all about enjoying the process.
Yeah.
When you enjoy the journey and the process, like whatever pain or difficulties you're going through, when you overcome them, you're like, that was awesome. That was amazing.
Right.
That was hard.
Right.
Like, would I want to go back and do it again? Not really, but I got through it. I'm good.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay. Two people. I mean, you've talked about a lot of people, but two people.
Two people that,
impacted you the most and why?
That's a good question. Trying to think of ones that we haven't talked about. I think my dad has always been someone that has had a massive impact on my life. I feel like my mom always told me how much I was like him. And so it made it easy. I'm like, well, if I'm like him, I have a lot to do to become that. And so it always like striving to try to be how he was being, right? And so that was something that always had a big impact on my life.
That's cool.
And then I would probably from there, like, my mom is the one that comes to my mind. And she taught me things that I feel like changed my way I view life, and not necessarily teaching, like telling me, but it was taught me through her example. She was super focused on serving others. That's all she did. Even when she was in pain, even when she was suffering, she was in car accidents, super, difficult, painful stuff. And she was still seeking to serve others who were in pain and stuff like that. And so it's almost like this example of someone who, even though they were going through all this suffering, they focused on others. By helping others through their suffering, it helped her through hers. And so that gave me like a really sense of like love for all those around, trying to be like, I want to be like her and serving. And so she was an amazing example.
That's awesome. So I feel like we have identical parents.
Yeah.
Like my dad's the sales guru, getting me on Greatest Salesman in the World, all these books, affirmations, all that. And then my mom, same thing, like the most selfless, giving person. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's amazing.
We got lucky.
We really
good
did.
Parents, man.
No, 100%. My wife always, teases me. She's like, Chase, you should be way better. With the parents you have, you should be better.
Right. You won the lottery. I'm trying. And then one quote that you live by or impacted you the most, and why?
One quote. I have so many different quotes. You want me to read it? Sure. Let me pull it up. I don't have this one memorized. It's a little too long.
Hey, you're good.
But it's the, you cannot keep a committed person from success. Place stumbling blocks in his way, and he will take them for stepping stones, and on them he will climb to greatness. Take away his money, and he will make spurs of his poverty to urge him on. The person who succeeds has program. He fixes his course and adheres to it. He lays his plans and executes them. He goes straight to his goal. He is not pushed this side and that every time a difficulty is thrust in his way. If he cannot get over it, he goes through it.
Wow.
And so that's, one of my favorites that I still will read and remind myself, okay, no matter what situation I'm in, hey, turn stumbling blocks into stepping stones. No matter what's going wrong, you can use that to help you have more success.
Yeah, you definitely embody that.
So, yeah.
Wow. This has been so fun, and time has flown by.
It has.
So
it's been fun.
Want to be respectful of everyone's time, but this has been an episode I'll watch over and over again. I'm sure you guys will too. Chase, dude, I'm so glad I know you.
Yeah.
Got to work with you at Aptive, and just I appreciate the man you are and how you've made a difference for me and a bunch of people at Aptive and just in life in general. And I look up to you a lot.
Thank you. And really, that's the thing that's most rewarding to me. Like, the money was great, but that, right? The impact that you have and the effect you can have on others, that's going to be lasting.
There's nothing better.
There's no better feeling. Yeah. No matter how much money you could ever get, that's going to be more rewarding to you. And that's what's the beauty of helping others succeed, is in helping them succeed, you succeed.
Awesome.
So
we'll leave it there.
Okay.
Thanks for listening, guys. Until next time, peace.